We are here, myself, Chandini, and Robert from Krishna's home, Adult Care Tucson, and we're here with Dr. Andracki. He has been a doctor for over 30 years. His father was also a doctor, and he resides here in Pahrump, Nevada, and we are doing some work together. Today we have this book with Life's Final Exam, Death and Dying from the Vedic Perspective, and this is by His Grace Giriraj Swami, who wrote this amazing book. I was in tears reading this book, and it's all about hospice care, and we are here with Dr. Andracki, who is working with patients with hospice care and has a foundation, and we are going to ask him what he feels about this book. He's seen the book and is eager to read it and has read parts of it, and we are going to take it from here. So, Dr. Andracki, you have been a lifetime doctor.
Well, in this lifetime, and I'm not sure about any previous lifetimes, but I've been introduced to the practice of medicine since I was a child. My father was a practicing physician, and he was my inspiration. My father was a very caring physician. And when he transitioned away from his private practice, he went into providing only hospice care. And so he was compassionate, he was caring, and he continued with that for his life and was my inspiration.
That's wonderful. That is really wonderful. We do have some questions for you regarding this book by Giriraj Swami. What is your perspective on hospice care in the Vedic style, which is more of a caring style, understanding that people towards the end of their life, sometimes they're in fear, sometimes they're angry, and how do we help people to feel connected with love towards the end of their lifetime?
Well, I will start by saying I do have some Vedic perspective. I spent a week with Deepak Chopra, and he was talking about the Vedic traditions and the philosophies and the medical practice. And so on top of that, I've also had the opportunity to study all different types of religions, including Buddhism and Christianity and spirituality. And I think that all of this revolves around the major theme of love and the absence of love, which is fear. And
Right.
So it's so true that in all states of health, in all states of our life, that we're either in the experience of love with connection to our source, or that we may be experiencing fear. And whenever we're experiencing fear, we have to return back to love. Now in this book, as I've read through parts of it, explaining the Vedic the beliefs in this, it's all the same. It talks about our connection, it's about our understanding, and it's all about understanding, isn't it, Chandini?
Absolutely, it really is. And you know, we connect in here. Giriraj Swami is a disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who's the founder of the Hare Krishna Foundation. And this style of book is to help and understand, so we can bring Krishna consciousness, which is God consciousness, into the mainstream now, so that people, especially in the West, can understand this lifestyle. There are many devotees within the Hare Krishna movement that are now becoming elderly or having limited motion. So now we're at a stage where we need to bring this understanding. Krishna's home Tucson, an assisted living home that we are working on right now, is a foundation, the basis of hospice care here in America, because we will be having people there that will be there towards the end of their lifetime. So this book, The Final Exam, is going to bring a lot of light to us so that we can be much more professional and a lot more caring in our approach. So Robert, would you like to ask Dr. Andracki some questions?
Well, I have a few. Robert, and with Chandini and myself, we have started a nonprofit organization called Krishna's Home, where we are building the first, as we know, the first care home, adult care home for the Christian conscious movement. And I have a connection with Dr. Andracki. Dr. Andracki was my mother's physician. And recently, my mother just passed away, literally 3.5 weeks ago. And because of Krishna consciousness, and because of reading this book, and because of Dr. Andracki's support, when he's saying that it is love, that's how Dr. Andracki is as a physician. I moved my mother out here from Detroit, literally in July. Dr. Andracki was her doctor. I don't believe this is a coincidence. I believe this was something from Krishna that was directed. And my mother loved Dr. Andracki. She said he was the most caring physician, most thorough physician that she's ever had. And she hadn't experienced many, I would admit, because she was hardly ever sick. But Dr. Andracki was extremely caring. He would call on Friday nights, he would call on Saturdays, he would call to find out how my mother was doing. He would talk to me about, how is your mother doing? And unfortunately, as it goes, it's not unfortunate. Actually, I had this at a meeting, because Dr. Andracki has been leading support meetings for over 10 years, basically talking about the difference between love and fear. So Dr. Andracki has been supportive of this in a really direct, indirect way for many years. And when I was with my mother as she passed, and I was saying this at Dr. Andracki's support group the other night, the amazing part was I was able to hold my mom's hand, and I was able to whisper in her ear that I love you, and it was all about love. It was one of the most purest, most unbelievable experience I've ever had. And a couple of people came to me the next week, which was really just last Friday, a couple of days ago, and said, I really enjoyed what you said. And I guess the comment that most people that resonated with them was they were very touched by me saying, my mom was there with me for my first breath, and I was there for her last. And I unlike my brothers and sisters who were having a really difficult time, I am at peace. My mom is surrounding me from head to toe, beyond head to toe. Her energy is with me all the time. And I know that she's extremely happy, and I know it has to do with Dr. Andracki's love, and I know it has to do with Christian consciousness. We did chant. I chanted with her. And I held her hand with the beads and was chanting with her as she was taking her last breath. And it was an amazing experience, and I don't think I would be where I am right now if it wasn't for this book, if it wasn't for Christian consciousness, if it wasn't for Dr. Andracki. And this is why we are doing what we're doing with the Tucson adult care home in Tucson.
I would just like to add one more thing, Robert. So you gave your mother some Tulsi water, and you had some Tulsi surrounding her
Yes.
at the time and just before she was dying. And as we know in Krishna consciousness, the Tulsi plant is absolutely amazing. It's non-different from Krishna. It's connected with the earth and connected with life and love. And in Krishna consciousness, we say to have the Tulsi around during that time is just amazing for the heart and for the soul. And you were able to do this at that time.
It was all directed through Krishna. I mean, you and Dr. Andracki and the people helped producing this video were actually down in Mexico doing a session and taping your first videos. And when you were down there, you came across an ISKCON a devotee who actually handed you the Tulsi in Mexico.
Yes.
And then you brought the Tulsi to me, and you told me how important it was for my mom to experience Tulsi. So during her last breath, when she was her mouth was open, I put Tulsi in her mouth, I put it on her tongue, I put it in her ear, I put it on her skin. And I know that had a huge part to do with how much peace has been brought to her and to me. She has come to me in a couple of dreams, and she's extremely happy, and she's dancing and she's smiling, and she's ecstatic. And so I cannot be angry or frustrated. I'm very, very happy. I'm very, very, very much at peace. And then on top of that, Chandini was kind enough to she had been to India many times, and she brought back some Vrindavan dust. And when my mom was cremated, the dust was put with her cremation. So as it is when someone is cremated, the soul goes up into the heavens as the fire is burning, and this all had a huge impact. And I think this is a motivating factor for us. The most important thing is obviously in Krishna consciousness is for people to think of Krishna at the moment of their last breath. And that's what the entire practice is about, at least for what my understanding is. That is what it is about. And my mom, in a weird way, in an indirect way, but a direct way to Krishna, experienced that. And for her being a devout Catholic, a third order Franciscan, she actually did say Hare Krishna, and that was very moving for me.
Thank you, Robert. With Giriraj Swami's book, The Vedic Approach, you happen to really experience this Vedic approach, and we just both happened to read this book right before the passing of your mother, so the timing was amazing. And it's also the same timing that Dr. Andracki is forming this foundation on hospice care. And do you have some questions for Dr. Andracki regarding, his father was a hospice?
Well, I think the thing that is very interesting. My question for you is, as a physician of 30 years, and as a physician who has been dealing with the elderly, what has brought you to the point that love is more important than medicine?
Good question.
Well, I would like to refer back to something that you already commented on, and I'll continue with that. You said that this was directed to you, and you may have mentioned coincidences, but there are no coincidences. This is unfolding in front of us, and my power, my connection is my connection to my source, and that's not by accident, and that's not a coincidence. I have asked to have guidance. I've asked to be able to pass this knowledge and love on to others, and I don't do this alone. That's my decision. That's my purpose, and I've partially discovered this because of my father, and through all the different ways I've attempted to explore this. If we knew this, we would not be here. If we knew Krishna, if we knew God, if we knew love, our source, we wouldn't need this experience. I need to experience my source and be able to bring this to other people, so that they may know the importance and significance of love, our true nature, and where we return to. And this is my direction, and it's a pleasure to be associated with people who believe this. And in terms of the Ayurvedic approach, such as in the book, that you have to stick to your belief structure. You need to follow your heart. It's your heart vision. What you believe is what's most important to how your heart guides you. And there's no reason to change. You don't change horses in the middle of a stream on your last battle. You use what gives you your most strength and takes you the farthest. And the Ayurvedic nature and practice is your structure. Embrace it. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita showed Arjuna, I said, look at what's going on. And he didn't understand. And so it's our purpose to understand. He's teaching us, the source is teaching us. And it's all about love. There's nothing else. And be with a medical provider, whether it's a doctor, a nurse practitioner. Be with somebody who brings you inspiration to love. If you don't find that, be guided to somebody else. It's that simple. Be with a group that supports your intention to experience love, and surrounded by people who want to experience love and show you love. And these are your choices. We're offered all these choices. We're not forced into anything. We ask and we will receive, and what you're doing and your foundation and your purpose is the same as my purpose, is the same as all of our healers' purpose in our foundation, to bring love and bring truth to the people who are ready to hear it. And so I do nothing but to support everything that you do, and by me doing what I do, it's supporting your nature and your development. And it's a pleasure. And to everybody listening, follow your inner guidance and ask and make sure you know what you want.
Well, that is wonderful, Dr. Andracki. I do want to say that there are obviously doctors in the Western world, in America, UK, etc. Of course, doctors are very busy, and they do get blamed a lot because of what happens at the time of death. There's a lot of times that they tend to blame the doctor because it's very difficult for people to accept their loved ones to be passing on. And even though they are not to blame, they often do get blamed. So with the approach that you are doing with the hospice, that resonates with this book, resonates very much with Krishna consciousness and Giriraj Swami's approach. There's very few doctors that actually do go for this approach. Are you able to encourage other doctors to work in this way, and to encourage hospice to have a very caring and very loving approach?
Well, let me just say that all doctors, all healing professionals, I don't care what type of healing professional that you are, you're only doing one thing. You're just continuing your life till the time that you die. Nobody is going to get through without dying. I mean, whatever we do as a pediatrician, as delivering babies, as helping with all different parts of life, we're extending you to this point now so that you can learn. You can't learn all of this as a child. So we do our job, but there's no doctor who can keep anybody, not one person alive forever. We don't have that power. That's not within us. We can extend your life, but we can't keep you from dying. And to your question is that I don't need to convince anybody. I don't need to tell people what they need to do. That's all I can do is to set the example. And that's what I'm doing. That's what we're doing, is setting an example. And as I do my work, then it allows other providers to understand that they have different choices, and I need to exemplify that. And so that's my purpose, is to walk my path. And it's not to try and get as many other people to agree with me. It's that I can solidify my path so that I can show people that there is another choice and option, so that they may want to follow me.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful, and very humbling, and just wonderful to know that there are doctors like you, Dr. Andracki, that can resonate in this approach. Again, with Robert here, as we are working on the assisted living home, Adult Care Tucson, we also are stepping the way into assisted living care with a different approach, an approach that is Krishna conscious, where all the residents will have Krishna conscious activities. So they will still be doing devotional service up until their last breath. And this is what it's all about. And they can do to the capacity that they can do. And we want to provide that service. We don't want them to be in hospice care or to be in assisted living care with no purpose, for them to have the feelings of no purpose and it's the end. This is a way for them to feel inspired, because everybody, as long as we have life, we can still have inspiration. We can do things, it may be on a smaller scale, but it's really a big thing. And this is what we want to provide here, is love till the very end, to know that everybody is involved in devotional service no matter what. When they're in the assisted living home, if they can help, put flowers together, do some artwork, help with some cooking, small things, small or big, it doesn't matter. But as long as they can feel that they're getting up in the morning and ready to do some service, and that they feel that they have that purpose, and that we can provide the energy for them to have that purpose. So this is the purpose for this book, for Dr. Andracki's approach, for Robert's approach for assisted living home, for hospice care in general. So we thank you. Robert, are there any more questions?
Well, I would just like to think it's very interesting that the common denominator here is that we are an eternal spirit wrapped into a body, and life never ends, it just continues, and it's a continuum. And this is where we are, and we feel very, very touched by Krishna and blessed that we are a vehicle to help push this forward. And I feel very humbled by all this experience that has been going on with Dr. Andracki, with Chandini, with the ability of us to be able to put together this assisted living home for Krishna consciousness. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Andracki?
I'd like to just end with this, the manifestation. Look what just appeared.
Wow. And you have peacocks here, is that correct?
We do.
You do, and this is a beautiful peacock feather.
Look at this.
And you know that the peacock is the national bird of India.
Oh, the peacock is so much more than that. The peacock is often seen accompanying Krishna, is it not?
Yes, absolutely. Krishna wears a peacock feather on the
Here
left
it
side
is.
of his hair.
Okay. And I'm going to end with this. This is beauty. This is absolute
We'll keep
perfection
the book and the peacock now.
of beauty. So while we're here on earth, we need to look for beauty every single day. When we return to our source, we're surrounded by immense beauty. At least that's what we're told, and that's what we believe. It's a good thing to believe. While we're here on earth, let us do our service. Let us smell the roses. Let me see if I can manifest something else. Look at this.
That's beautiful. Let's offer it to Krishna and then smell it. Hare Krishna.
We'll smell the roses. We'll look for beauty in the simplest things, and that we can understand that we really need to look for beauty and appreciation and gratitude, to take the time to look and to smell for our every single moment to the last breath that we take.
Hare Krishna.
So be it.
Thank you. And just again, thank you to Giriraj Swami for putting this beautiful book together for us and many people to see this. Giriraj Swami, his grace is just amazing and wonderful, and has other books as well. You can look him up on Facebook also, and read some of his books and listen to some of his classes on YouTube. He's absolutely wonderful and very, very connected with Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. We thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please subscribe, like, and follow us on YouTube. Check out our social platform links below, our website and Facebook page. Jai Hari Bol.